What is up, YouTube? It is Onion Bomb here. Welcome back to another Honkaiimpact 3rd reaction video. Today, we're back on the lore playlist here, and we're about to get into some part 2 stuff of the Honkai. So I'm pretty excited. Last time we kind of finished off, well, I at least seemed to me if we finished off the last ones about part 1. So I'm excited. I know the this playlist put some things into like perspective of like the in-depthness of some of the story arcs and stuff, like the Elysian realm and even stuff like before that and like the ending and stuff. So to dive a little bit deeper into part 2 here is something I'm pretty interested in, because I feel like I haven't quite done that yet, at least as not as much as part 1. So yeah, very exciting. Now we're into part 2. So without further ado, everything we should know about the story of part 2 from Homu Labs.
Oh,
let's get to it.
They just announced part 2. I wonder what the
Just
speaker
announced.
have to say about it. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot that it's called X now.
Oh, that was like the, oh, this is not, oh no. Oh no. No, oh no.
Well, never mind. Oh boy. Look, I am not here to judge part 2, okay? I'm here to talk about the lore. So, let's dive in.
So people are not happy. No, we're happy about
Genshin, Honkai Impact 3rd Part 2. Right off the bat, we can see that the story of Part 2 happens on September 23rd at 7:30 PM in the year 2023. Wait a minute. What day is today? Oh my god, it's happening today, as I'm writing the script. That's crazy. This means that part 2 is set around 5.5 years after part 1.5 and 2 years prior to APHO. People were expecting a huge time skip, but that seems not to be the case. Since the story is happening before APHO, it makes me wonder how everything will connect. Keep in mind that the developers confirm that as the story progresses, we will discover that part 1, APHO, and part 2 are all part of a bigger plot that will tie everything together. Dawei also said during the reveal video that we'll be moving from the Earth-Moon system to the solar system. So I do not think that the story on Mars will be very long, maybe a year or 2, and after that, just like how we move in Honkai Star Rail from world to world, we'll be moving from planet to planet in Honkai Impact 3rd. I genuinely hope that this means that we'll return to Earth just in time for APHO 3 and connect the stories. We see the Mars exploration team, a group of Shixel members tasked with exploring the neighboring red planet, Venus. Mars, sorry. For a moment there, I was part of the Honkai Impact 3rd English localization team. On the ship, we met Erdos Hylia, an A-rank Valkyrie of Shixel. Hylia is a professional astronaut who participated in the fight against Honkai on Earth as a regular Valkyrie. She sees Durandal as her idol and strives to be like her. Oh, a fun fact, both Hylia and the other character from Earth, Coralie, were teased in the chapter 35 during the fight with Kevin, confirming that both were indeed part of Shixel at that time. Oh, and speaking of Coralie, her full name is Coralie 6626 Planck, and she is the adopted daughter of Dr. Einstein, who named her after Emma Planck, one of the founders of anti-entropy. She is also part of the Mars exploration team together with Hylia. Due to the effects of the Honkai, Coralie was born with animal ears and a tail, and her body stopped aging prematurely. Just like Dr. Mophead, she received her doctorate at the age of 17. We also got some more stuff revealed on the CN side, which confirms that Hylia and Coralie waited for 3 months in the orbit of Mars before landing at Lunae Planum, which is a real place on Mars, by the way. Oh, and speaking of Mars, when the two of them landed, we could see this giant anchor called the Anchor of Apocalypse that might be connected to the demise of the planet. It's important to mention that all the places introduced during the trailer, namely Quansha City, which is a giant metropolis, and Langshuo, the other place with a much more eerie atmosphere that honestly looks like it had been through a lot, are bubble worlds of Mars. The civilization of the real world Mars is long gone. And this was already told to us during chapter 35 when Kevin looked at the dreams of the Honkai beasts. The cocoon of finality stalled on Mars, and the only remnants of civilization exist only in bubble worlds. And this is why these places are in the Sea of Quanta. I'm looking forward to see if the cocoon is truly connected to that anchor or not, and how it impacted the civilization there, you know, besides presumably wiping them out. An idea that came to my mind while seeing this is, you know how in the past we were told that the civilizations that failed to defeat the Honkai sink into the Sea of Quanta? And people took it literally. But what if, after they are wiped out, their data is just used by the sea to create bubble worlds, so this could just be the remains of the Martian civilization, and the anchor of apocalypse could be just an ether anchor used to keep them stable. Anyway, I digress. The other characters introduced are the Dream Seeker, a resident of Osha City, and an engineering student who studies salvaging and the exploration of resources from the Sea of Data, which is an altered space of the Sea of Quanta. One day, because of a coincidence, the Dream Seeker met a figure suspected of being a god in their dreams, thus embarking on an adventure to save Mars. The Dream Seeker is also the character from whose perspective we will explore the story. In other words, she's our new MC. After a certain point in the story, the players can freely change between male and female. Many people are upset about her being another self-insert silent MC, which is not confirmed yet, by the way. She might be her own character and have voice lines and development, right? Right, guys? Please ignore the copium huffs. What gives me hope is that they have a clear backstory and a goal, unlike the other Hoyo MCs who are amnesic blank slates for us to self-insert. But to be fair, Adam is also the same, so who knows. This is not a deal breaker for me, but I would have loved an actual character as MC, and I can totally understand why people are mad about this. The red-haired yo-yo girl is called Senadine. Her name could be spelled differently in the official release. I found several translations that all spelled her name in different ways, so I don't know. This made the most sense to me. Anyway, Mars Elysia is described as a mysterious girl with an unknown past. She was born in the Sea of Data and has a positive and wholesome personality. She is the Dream Seeker's first adventure partner, and it is said to be connected to the god that the Dream Seeker saw. So we have two groups, the Martian exploration team formed by Helia and Coralie, and the Dream Seeker and Senadine who are trying to save Mars, or the bubble universes of Mars. It's still not clear. I think that they refer to the bubble universe since the Dream Seeker is from one of them and the actual Mars is already in ruins anyway. I saw some people theorizing that the action might happen in the past and the present simultaneously, with Helia and Coralie being in the present day and Senadine and the Dream Seeker in the past. And while I do think that it's an interesting idea, I don't think that's the case. It would be just too complicated for them to work around that. Oh, and there's one last character called Sangshe, and she's from Langxi, but we don't really know much about her. There are a lot more things that I could talk about from that trailer, but I want to keep this video about things that we mostly know for a fact. But there are a couple more things that were revealed during the CN livestream that I wanted to mention. I saw people upset by the lack of the main cast from part 1, myself included to be honest, but they did confirm that we will have more characters from part 1 being involved in the new story. For now, the only returning character is Vita, who is set to play a major part in connecting the stories of part 1.5 and part 2. Though the devs left the impression that there will be more as the story continues. One misconception that I've seen floating around is that the gameplay of the old characters will be adjusted to have aerial combat. That is false. They never said that. What they said was that all the new characters will have aerial combat. They only mention that the old ones will be able to jump and use the grappling hook in the open zones while exploring, not in combat. This means that we will most likely be able to use the old characters in the new zones, but no, they won't have any gameplay adjustments, as far as we know. Also, I am mostly fine with the UI, I would only like if they could allow us to keep the bridge backgrounds. Anyway, see you on Mars!
It's okay. So actually, that's another thing I guess. I didn't really know. So part 2 takes place before APHO. That is something I wasn't really too familiar with. And I suppose there's a chance the story is still kind of being cooked and still being like made to a degree. I mean, I know it's still going on, but they said in here that was gonna tie in, everything was gonna tie in, part 1, part 2, part, APHO was all gonna tie in. And I'm not sure if that's happened yet. Maybe not. Maybe it'll be more clear once I get more into these part 2 videos. But yeah, interesting. And yeah, I have gotten the impression, I've seen some comments before about how part 2 just isn't the same as like other Honkai stuff, but in the beginning, dang, like this is not a HI3 crying emoji. But no, we want to gentrify, like this is, yeah, people, what have you done to my Honkaiimpact 3rd? People were not happy. Yeah, I don't know, it does seem a bit different. I can't blame them entirely. I'm not the biggest fan of change either, especially when it's something like, a property that's pretty, pretty iconic and cool. So I don't know. But yeah, now we have who are the new villains, quote in quotes, in part 2.
Okay, so whoever's dropped a bomb on us at the end of 7.3 CN developer livestream and revealed a new mysterious group that seemed to be the antagonists of part 2, or at least the beginning of part 2. Notice that I didn't call them villains, except for the title of this video, but that's clickbait so it doesn't count. That's because we don't really have many proper villains in Honkaiimpact 3rd. They seem to be more like a group that fights for a greater good using morally questionable methods, like Kevin and Project Stigma, and the little we know about them paints them more like heroes, to be honest. They seem familiar yet different to the Flame Chasers. This is not going to be a very long video, we know too little about them to really go into details, but once part 2 comes out, you can bet that we're gonna dive deep into their lore. The name of the group is Chishu, which translates to 7 arts or 7 skills. They each seem to have a specific trait or skill set that might be related to the highlighted words from the teaser, but more on that when we talk about them separately. Chishu is an old group responsible for the civilization on Mars being able to live in the Sea of Quanta, or Sea of Data. Before we move on, let's address the Sea of Quanta versus Sea of Data debate. As far as I am aware, the Sea of Data is just an altered/mutated version of the Sea of Quanta that exists near Mars. It's still the Sea of Quanta, but different, more adapted to Mars, if you will. The little lore we have about Chishu says that they sacrificed something important to allow the Martian civilization to live inside the bubble world. They are also the ones who put the 7 nails in place to keep Langsha stable. The 7 nails are these thingies that keep the shadow, which is this dark miasma coming from the Sea of Data, at bay, even though the shadow can still seep out, as you can see here. If you ask me, they've done some pretty heroic deeds. Then why do they call themselves sinners? We don't really know. Baiji, who is the guy that talks at the end, says that they are the greatest evil of this world and to find a way out they must face death. This makes me think that whatever they did to save the Martian civilization was a necessary evil for which they have to pay a price in the current day. But let's talk about them individually. The first one is Litost. He is the hooded guy that we saw in the 7.3 PV and the reveal trailer together with Songche. He seems to be the owner of the small doggo that pilots the big doggo that will fight at the beginning of part 2. His highlighted word is used to refer to a death penalty, which might make him something more akin to an executioner or assassin. His name is derived from the Czech word litovat, which is used to describe a feeling of regret or remorse for doing something bad. Like not subscribing and smashing that like button if you enjoyed this video and want to see more part 2 content. The second one is Songche. While the rest of them have cool inspired names, Songche is just a bird. This bird to be more exact. But what's interesting about her is the title she's associated with, Deception, which makes sense if she's going to betray us. Next is Agieta. Her highlighted word seems to refer to a trove or collection. She's a bit hard to figure out since there's not much to work with here. Even her name's etymology was hard to pinpoint. The only thing I could find was Agita, which is a name of Indian origin that is related to various mythological figures, including Vishnu and Ajitanatha. Next, grown-up Clara, Selimo. Her highlighted word seems to be delight. Given her dialogue, she seems to be the type of person who tries to find enjoyment in the things she does. Maybe a little crazy? I don't know, we'll have to see. Her name seems to be derived from Selim, which is an Arab name that means safe or undamaged. Safe? Yeah, not in this game, Clara. There's no more Mr. Svarak to protect you. The fifth member is Seraphim. Her highlighted word is everybody, used to describe a collective. This, and given her clothes and name, make me think that she's a compassionate person who wants to help the people around her. A seraphim is a celestial or heavenly being originating in ancient Judaism, and they are the highest ranked angels in Christian angelology. Yeah, that's a thing apparently. The name of the sixth member can be translated as light, spark, or lamp. All in all, her name refers to a source of light, meaning that she could be some sort of guide. Her highlighted word is destruction, which might suggest that she's more prone to violence. The last one is Baiji, who, judging by his position, might be the leader of the group. His highlighted word is used to refer to concealment, as in hiding something, and he's named after a Chinese orchid used in traditional Chinese medicine, but also grown for its ornamental flowers and foliage. This paints him not only as a leader, but also as someone who is quiet, mysterious, and has a lot of secrets. All in all, the Chishu seems like a group with a very interesting past that will serve as the catalyst for the story in the present time. They give me massive Flame Chasers vibes, and I'm sure that we will gradually learn more about them. But what's your opinion? Which member are you most excited about? Let me know in the comments.
I'm not sure which member, but an interesting group though. I've seen some of their designs before, it seems. So and like other stuff and other videos and stuff. But yeah, definitely some Flame Chaser vibes in that, and interesting like villain antagonist group per se. Yeah, very nice.
Do you need to play part 1?
Okay, so a beginner's guide for part 2 lore. Maybe we are gonna go back for part 1 stuff a little bit, maybe, if this is a beginner's guide for part 2.
Do you need to play part 1 to understand part 2? No, you don't. However's mentioned that part 2 was designed as an entry point for new players to the game. And while yes, playing part 1 will enhance your overall experience, Editor Homo
What just
here.
happened?
Okay, so I recorded this video a little before part 2 came out. Now that I actually got to play it, all I can say is that as a new player you will get confused regarding some of the terminology from part 1 that they use in part 2 and don't really explain. So, while I do think that part 2 can be a decent entry point if you really don't want to play part 1, note that you will be confused. But hey, this is why this video exists.
I was gonna say too. You know, if the stories are gonna connect at some point, I feel like it'd be better to play part 2 as well, or part 1.
To make you less confused, back to past Homo. Do note though that you need to be Captain level 30 to start part 2, so you will begin in part 1 as a new player. Level 30 is easily obtainable, so don't worry too much about that. However, I do recommend playing through Kiana's story at some point because it's a great story that is worth experiencing, and you will probably meet some old characters later in part 2. Oh, and mostly because part 2 doesn't offer too much content yet, so you'll need something to do while you're waiting for updates, right? This video is dedicated to both all the new players. However, it will contain spoilers for part 1. Unfortunately, I can't really explain what's happening on Mars and give you context as to why we are there without spoiling some stuff from part 1. So, if you plan on playing part 1 and don't want to get spoiled, I recommend watching this video only after you're caught up. Although, if you play part 2 first, the game might slightly spoil you on some stuff. But hey, if you don't mind spoilers, then please go ahead. I will try to do my best to only mention things that I feel that are necessary.
Yeah, I feel like part 1 might be necessary to play first for
to set sail. Wait,
someone.
What do you mean it already sailed? Hey, wait up! Please don't go without me! There are two important cosmological structures that you need to be aware of. First, the imaginary tree. If you played Honkai Star Rail, you might be familiar with this concept since it's the same for both games. The imaginary tree is a visualization scheme for the stable worlds in the Honkai universe. I will expand on the reason why we are calling them stable in a bit. The word world in the context of the Honkai series is used to describe many different structures, but the most general use of the word in Honkaiimpact 3rd is when referring to the solar system. The world of Honkaiimpact 3rd houses at least 2 planets with civilizations on them, Earth and Chiming. But you don't really need to know about Chiming. Other planets like Venus and Mars used to have advanced civilizations at some point. Mars? Wait, but isn't part 2 supposed to take place on Mars? Yesn't. We'll get there in a moment. The worlds in the Honkai universe are separated by a barrier of imaginary energy, which we also learn in Star Rail. The barrier makes interstellar travel between worlds impossible. In HSR, to go to another world, you need the power of the Eons or to use the Star Rail. But in Honkaiimpact 3rd, there are other methods. One of these methods are the Stargates, special wormholes that can connect 2 different places in space. Honkaiimpact 3rd also has a being similar to Eons that can travel between worlds, but most entities and factions in this game cannot leave the solar system. The other major cosmological structure is the Sea of Quanta, which houses the so-called Bubble World. The Sea of Quanta is a chaotic structure that exists together with the imaginary tree. The flow of time inside the sea is very unstable, and usually you won't have as good of a time as you would have in a stable world on the imaginary tree. The tree and the sea exist in some sort of symbiotic relationship, and while they are separate structures, they are constantly exchanging data and information, almost like feeding each other. You can think of them as order and chaos. While we know that they coexist, the tree and the sea function very differently. Unlike the stable worlds from the imaginary tree, the worlds in the Sea of Quanta are like soap bubbles that can pop at any moment, hence why the name Bubble Worlds. Due to the chaotic nature of the sea, the bubble worlds are extremely unstable, and unless anchored to a special structure called an ether anchor, they won't survive for long and disintegrate into data. Also, while the stable worlds on the tree follow the same universal laws, the bubble worlds can have unique laws/rules. For example, in one of the bubble worlds that we visited in the past, wishes made by the people of that bubble world would manifest in reality out of nothing. There are many kind of bubble worlds, but I want to keep this video simple, so I won't go into details. All you need to understand from this section is that imaginary tree, stable worlds separated by imaginary energy, they have fixed laws. Sea of Quanta, unstable worlds called bubble worlds, they need an ether anchor to continue existing, and they can have strange laws, aka anything can happen in them. And yes, for all intentions and purposes, the Anchor of Apocalypse that we see everywhere in part 2 seems to be some kind of special ether anchor. Remember when I mentioned entities akin to eons that can travel between worlds? Well, the Cocoon of Finality is one of them. The Cocoon of Finality is a higher dimensional being and the main perpetrator behind the Honkai phenomena in Honkai Impact 3. The Cocoon is theorized to be a merge existence formed after a civilization merged with its own planet. The sole purpose of the Cocoon is to achieve coexistence with humans through a process known as embrace. It manipulates Honkai energy and creates Hershers, powerful beings that can bend physical laws. Since the Cocoon is a higher dimensional existence, it cannot understand humans, so these embraces end up destroying the civilizations it tries to coexist with. The Cocoon also operates on a trial and error basis, resetting the civilizations destroyed by the Hersher of Finality and trying to embrace them all over again. The Earth was trapped in a constant cycle of destruction and rebirth by the Cocoon, but this change in the previous cycle, also referred to as the previous era, when Elysia, a Hersher born as an anomaly free from the Cocoon's control, cut the threads of destiny which forced Hershers to be under the Cocoon's control. This allowed the Hershers of the new cycle to retain their humanity. In the current cycle, Kiana Kaslana became the new Hersher of Finality, and the Cocoon achieved embrace for the first time through her. Kiana then merged with the Cocoon, becoming the new goddess of Earth. After that, she started siphoning all the Honkai energy to the moon, where she would remain until the Earth had enough time to heal, all while trying to find a way to convert Honkai energy into regular energy. This process is set to take between 5 to 10 years, but as of the story of APHO, which happens 8 years in the future, she's still supposedly there. Oh, and if you wonder where part 2 fits into the timeline, part 2 happens 6 years after the end of part 1 and 2 years before the beginning of APHO.
Okay, so there's a 2-year difference. 2026, hey, the APHO is almost like in present day with that. I don't know, maybe they'll lose something with that. I don't know.
Luoxing is what the people of Mars call their planet. Long ago, Mars was a prosperous planet.
The timeline started coming together for me though. It was not there in my mind, but now it is.
The red desert that it is now. Around 1 billion years ago, the Cocoon of Finality visited Mars. We don't really know what happened, but it's safe to assume that the Cocoon of Finality failed to achieve embrace and left at some point. The civilization on Mars was destroyed, existing only as an echo of its former self inside the bubble worlds of the Sea of Quanta. The bubble worlds around Mars are the only place where the Martian civilization exists today, and that is where the story in part 2 will take place. Yes, we're not really on Mars, but we'll visit the bubble worlds around Mars. We don't know the exact story of how the people of Luoxing got to live inside the sea, but we do know that the relocation happened a little over 100 years ago for them, during Mars's Great Eruption, which is not to be confused with the Great Eruption that happened on Earth, Yeah, Mars had its own great eruption. It's a separate thing. Some sort of dark energy exposed Luoxing to the Sea of Data. A group of heroes called the Seven Shoes sacrificed something important to move the civilization of Mars inside bubble worlds and allow them to continue existing inside the Sea of Data. The Seven Shoes will be a central figure in the upcoming story. They did a lot more than just relocating the civilization, but I'll let you discover their secrets by playing the game yourself. We also know about the existence of an entity who interacted with the Cocoon of Finality and who calls herself the Cocoon of Unwoven. Editor Homu here to make a clarification regarding the word cocoon. I saw many people thinking that because Senadina introduced herself as a cocoon, she must be similar to the Cocoon of Finality, as in the same kind of existence or something. But she's not. The cocoons are not really a species of something. The word is used literally. The Cocoon of Finality is just that, a shell from which finality emerges. The true finality is the power inside. Senadina used that title in rapport with Kiana's existence to signal that she is a shell for some kind of unrealized power, hence why unwoven. She, just like the Cocoon of Finality, are cocoons in concept. They are not the same type of existence. I hope this clarified. In fact, she might be closer to Kiana herself and be some kind of unrealized Herrscher of Finality equivalent for Mars, or something. But yeah, we have no idea what she is. Back to past Homo. After a peculiar accident caused by her meeting with the Dream Seeker inside a dream, the Cocoon of Unwoven made contact with Kiana through a dream and asked her for help to save Luoxing. We also learned from her that time in the bubble worlds of Mars was paused until Kiana achieved embrace with the Cocoon of Finality on Earth. So, while in the proper world it has been a billion years since the destruction of Mars, for the people of Mars in the bubble worlds, time was frozen and only a little more than 100 years has passed. The Cocoon of Unwoven also revealed that the bubble worlds of Mars are protected by 12 constellations, which coincide with the different types of astral rings. So yeah, that's interesting.
Oh yeah, cool.
Before the Cocoon of Unwoven made contact with Kiana, Earth already sent two people to explore Mars, Erdos Hylia and Coralie 6626 Planck. Hylia is an A-rank Valkyrie of Schicksal. She is a serious and dedicated person who admires Durandal, one of the characters from Part 1, greatly. For those of you who are new, the Valkyries are a combat unit under Schicksal, a military organization that led the fight against the Honkai on Earth. While Hylia may seem stern and serious on the outside, don't let that deceive you, because she's a real softie on the inside. Coralie is the adopted daughter of Dr. Einstein, one of the preeminent scientists featured in Part 1. While Coralie doesn't handle people very well, she is a very attentive person and she has a great knack for dark humor. Once you will get to know her, there is no way that you will not like her. Just like once you watch one of my videos, there is no way that you won't subscribe to the channel. Seriously though, I know that Part 2 can be confusing for many. I am working on videos trying to explain everything, so if you want to support me in this endeavor, please subscribe, share and leave a like on this video. Thanks. When Hylia and Coralie first arrived on Mars, they found some ancient ruins that contained a path to the Sea of Quanta, and after an accident, both of them ended up lost inside the Sea of Data, which is a version of the Sea of Quanta adapted to Mars. Inside this quantum space belonging to the Sea of Data, Hylia and Coralie met Senadina and the Dreamseeker for the first time. As I said, the story of Part 2 takes place in the bubble worlds of Mars. Since the real Mars is now a desolated wasteland, these bubble worlds are the only places that can house the remnants of the Martian civilization. You will play as the Dreamseeker, a student at the Data Research Institute in Osha, a modern and thriving city full of places to visit. Oh, and before I forget, the bubble worlds are usually much smaller in scale than stable worlds. Some bubble worlds are only the size of a city, for example, while others can be as big as an actual planet. In the beginning, the game will default you to the female Dreamseeker, but after finishing the first act of Chapter 1 in Part 2, you can change between male and female in the mirror inside your apartment. One day, the Dream Seeker meets the Cocoon of Unwoven inside the dream, who introduces herself as Senadina. Senadina entrusts the Dream Seeker with the astral rings and forms a contract with them to embark on a journey to save Mars. After waking up from the Dream Seeker finds themselves inside the Sea of Data, surrounded by many unfamiliar faces. Two of them are Hylia and Coralie, and the other person is Senadina? But she's not the same Senadina of the Dream Seeker met in the dream, but a different person who looks the same and has the same name. The Senadina we met in the Sea of Data seems connected to the Cocoon of Unwoven, but she lacks any memories about who she is. The story will then bring you to Langcha, another bubble world of Mars, which, unlike Osha, has a more historical and gloomy aesthetic and houses a dark secret. And when I say dark, I mean literal. You'll see when you play the game. There we meet Songche, a scammer, a fortune teller who introduces us to Langche and its people. Langche is facing a great disaster that threatens even the safety of Osha, so together with Hylia, Coralie, Senadina and Songche, the Dream Seeker needs to find a way to stop this calamity from happening.
Vita Part 1.5.
Vita is a character introduced in Part 1.5, and the developers confirmed that she will play a major role in linking the stories of Part 1.5 and Part 2. So, if you haven't played Part 1.5, let me give you a quick breakdown. About 250 million years ago, the Cocoon of Finality visited Venus. The people of Venus fought the Cocoon, but were ultimately wiped out from existence, trying to use the power of the Sea of Quanta against it. The sole survivor of Venus, Sa, was blessed by a mysterious power from the sea and started mimicking the Cocoon of Finality's behavior. Sa wanted to absorb enough energy to rebuild the Venusian civilization and replace the Cocoon of Finality as the one controlling the Honkai energy in this world. To accomplish this task, Sa created multiple proxies to help them farm energy from the bubble worlds in the Sea of Quanta. One of those proxies was Vita, who looked exactly like Sa when they were human. Long story short, Sa was the main antagonist of Part 1.5. Vita ended up turning against Sa, and after Kiana blasted Sa across the solar system, Vita stole Sa's eyes and a big portion of their power. Now, Vita is free from Sa's control, and due to the power she stole, she is now an omniscient being. This is the very short version. If you have time, I do really recommend playing through Part 1 and Part 1.5 yourself. Another old friend who will appear in Part 2 is I Lambda, who is a very complicated existence to explain. Basically, she was born towards the end of Part 1 due to some time and space shenanigans. Her gist is that she can dream about the future, and don't be surprised if she ever starts talking to you. And no, I do not mean the Dream Seeker, I mean you, the player. Yeah, she can break the fourth wall and she's aware of our existence. Usually she refers to us as time, so when you see her mentioning that word, she's talking about us. And that's it. I know this is a lot of lore to take in as a new player, but I tried my best to explain how all the stories tie together and give you a general idea of what you need to know if you start directly in Part 2. If you are a veteran who played through the story, I hope I helped you put things into perspective. If you have any other questions...
May not be a veteran player, but a veteran reactor. It put in some things more, of course, the Part 1 bits and other bits I think, but the Part 2 stuff is interesting. Yeah, things are being put together. Alright, I guess I'm not quite a veteran. Might be a harsh right, but I don't know. Maybe at this point, it's been over a year. Maybe I don't know.
Please don't hesitate to ask in the comments, and I or other knowledgeable members of the community will answer you. So take care and see you on Mars. Now, where the heck did the spaceship go? Not again.
Alright, I believe, yeah, there's gonna be quite a few, it's almost gonna be a little bit rapid fire, for a little, like, there's an 18-minute one coming up, or maybe 19, and there's only really, like, an 11-minute video. There's some pretty quick ones. I don't know how much we're going to get to, but we're gonna do some of these here. This so we have new Honkai TGS, a Mars. We got a trailer. It didn't look like an official upload, but it's a trailer of some sort. Got the train. No more. So yeah, some of those clips were I think used for like B-roll for. Oh yeah, that was from that one announcement thing I saw the guy at the end there. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, this is an official upload video. This is a Honkaiimpact 3rd Part 2 highlights trailer. This actual gameplay. Graphics do look nice, very nice. Coralie, her running with the hammer still is mad funny. Yeah, the combat for like the part 2 characters is cool. Is very sick. Very nice, very nice. Well, but before I want to see how people are feeling about this. Not I mean I don't want to just like expose people. I want to just see, so I'll hide the screen. But you know, in case if there's a good comment, I don't mind. But a bad one is just. And you know what? Like the top comments actually, I mean, is a weird. We go into Mars. We go into like I need this now. This is Honkai is going to be great experience. Can't wait for the day it starts. This has the OG 2016 vibes. I hope this new cast will bring us more awesome animated shorts. Well, about that one, the hype is real. Yeah, just people actually excited for it. So, and I guess maybe this didn't hit the or maybe I don't know, the more positive comments got towards the top, but I don't know. Yeah, interesting. I'm very interesting and excited to see how this all comes together, and if they bring back like new characters and old characters, and if Home mentioned like Kiana is like has like what she's doing on the moon is gonna take 5 or 10 years, and like the most like recent or like the latest story is like 8 years in, and she's still on the moon. Like, is there like a scenario where there's a story where she comes back from the moon, and there's a story that brings everything together in the future? Maybe I don't know how long that would take, or if that's not a thing, if I'm misunderstanding things, or that's just impossible. Or I don't know, maybe there's some things that happen, but to show what's gonna happen at some point, we'll see. And definitely excited to see more of these videos. We have a cartoon cutscene. The sea is singing with a voice of fire. Oh man, the pen on fire with that. Oh, this is like the intro for them. The Dream Catcher and Celiadina. Doing a Macarena. So that's how I got a little confused. So that's not like there's two. They love having two characters that look the same. There's two Celiadinas. And like this is the one in the dream, and one's like the character. Dang, very nice sceneries. The zebras. A very nice looking art. Scenery. Oh. Some of it's getting a little murked by lava though. There was like the bubble universes maybe there. Voice of fire. Interesting. Character impression trailer of S rank battlesuit Deep Space Anchor First Light Honkaiimpact 3rd.
ビルの100階に駅があるなんて、この街はいろいろ工夫されてるんだね。ねえ、夢追い人、ここから飛び降りる動画を撮ったら人気出るかな。それならテレビと同じように目立ったところにテロップをつけてね。つまり危険ですから絶対に。
She's doing. Ooh. That was pretty cool.
Just my basement, in my clear in the ceiling could be a limit. I'm coming to you where upside down. Suddenly we can't stay but turn. Yo to keep me turned. Spin me up, yeah, wait, don't stop. Got better free, better all mine. Made my own best, never rewind. Just speed it up, waste my whole life, yeah. So keep your eyes on me. We can ride to this beat. Just follow me. I won't let you
Oh, the yo-yo. Dang! Should you just leave Dreamcatcher person on the subway now? Yeah.
後で水泳教室があるのも忘れないで。そうだと。今行くよ。
Very nice. I saw the Coralia and the other like Mars poor person in the one building. Yeah, we got the splendid yo-yo. Why? Yo, that tripped me. You see at the very top there was two the mouse wasn't moving, but that must be the recorder's mouse. That's crazy. No ceiling with lyrics. Oh, this was the. I was gonna say I really like the song in the back. Definitely like a different like style of music than the other ones. But like I like very hype. Kind of a band.
Made my own best, never rewind, yeah. She done speed it up, waste my whole life, yeah. So keep your eyes on me. We can ride to this beat. Just come and follow me. I won't let you down. Keep your eyes on me.
Yeah, that was very cool. When you realize Seliadina's moveset is actually is this? Oh yeah, it's about the yo-yo guy. 6-time world yo-yo champion. Yeah, I remember this video was in the character trailer playlist as well. Like they used this guy's like moves for
自分で鏡を見ながらちょっとこういう感じで動いたら女の子っぽくなるかなとか、ちょっとこう腰を動かしてみるとかいろいろ研究したりとかして、こうやって皆さんと一緒に協力してできて本当に嬉しいです。で自分のキャラクター、この僕の動きがキャラクターの一部に反映されるのでめちゃくちゃ楽しみです。
Absolutely sick moves. Like normally with the like IRL yo-yo and like the in-game, you know, her yo-yo. Okay, so this next video I'm actually not gonna watch because I already watched in the last playlist, and there's some, you know, it's an NBC America's Got Talent type of vibe, but I'll show a little bit. All you need to know is this guy, he was on America's Got Talent, and he did very well, very well. You see, we got Terry Crews, Simon Cowell, and Howie Long, is that? I'm not sure. They're on the Honkai playlist. Who would have thought? Not me. But very cool. Whoops. Alright, this is the last one we'll check out today. Just getting started on the part 2. It's an 11-minute video. I think we're still on San Diego Yo-Yo. Okay, so yeah, they're showing off the...
皆さんこんにちは、シュウタカナです。今日はですね、崩壊サードに関わる動画になってます。崩壊サードっていうのはですね、簡単に説明すると、可愛いそしてかっこいい女の子たちがですね、敵と戦っていくスマホそしてタブレット向けのゲームになります。新章第2部がですね、これからスタートしていくわけなんですが、なんとその中にですね、ヨーヨーを使う新キャラがいるんですよ。セナディアと言いまして、このね新キャラクターの PV に振り付けそしてモーションキャプチャーとして参加させていただきました。崩壊サードをね通じて僕のことを知ってくれた方も多いかなと思うので、簡単にね自己紹介させていただきますと、6度のヨーヨーの世界大会で優勝経験がありまして、今ね日本だけじゃなくていろんなね世界中の国でヨーヨーのアーティストとしてサーカスとかイベントとかテレビとかでねパフォーマンスさせていただいてます。ヨーヨーにねダンスとかアクロバティックな動きとかそういったのをね織り交ぜながらヨーヨーのパフォーマンスをさせていただいています。そんなね僕なんですけど、ありがたいことにこうやってねセナディアちゃんに関わる、お話をいただいてモーションキャプチャーをして、振り付けも考えてということでめちゃくちゃ関わらせていただいたので、早速ね皆さんと一緒にその PV を見てみたいなと思います。じゃあね、早速。
Oh, so this is like a reaction in a reaction.
振り付けしてくださいって言われてね作ったので、そのかっこよさと可愛さをこう兼ね備えた感じのね振り付けにできるようにちょっとね頑張って作りました。曲が送られてきて、そのねイメージを元に作ったので、どんな感じの PV になっているかめちゃくちゃ楽しみですね。モーションキャプチャーって人生で1回はやってみたいなっていうね夢のお仕事だったんですけどね、それがこう崩壊サワーと関わって達成できてめちゃくちゃ嬉しいです。そうで、ここくらいからがですね僕の動きになりますね。こうダンスの動きとかちょっとステップとか合わせて作ったんですけど、すごいめっちゃ綺麗に入ってる。今の動きも僕の動きですね。そうこうやってねリズムに合わせて飛んだり跳ねたりとかするのも実は僕の動きなんですけど、いやめっちゃかっこいい。しかもねたまにこのセクシーな感じも入ってていいですね。でこの複雑な動きとかでめっちゃヨーヨーです。そうリアルでもめっちゃ動く動きなんですよこれ。めっちゃかっこいいじゃん。でしかも一番驚いたのはこのねヨーヨーをスケボーみたいな感じで乗ってるところなんですよ。めっちゃいいじゃないですか。
Yeah, I heard like her yo-yo's becoming like wheels on her feet. That's really cool.
というわけでですね、こうやって皆さんと一緒に
She got the
も
wheelie.
らいましたけど、今日はねこれだけじゃありません。今日はこのモーションキャプチャーをした本人からですね、皆さんにヨーヨーの技のレクチャーをしていきたいなと思います。 はい、早速スタジオの方にやってきました。これからですね、皆さんと一緒にセナディアちゃんになれる。
If I had a yo-yo, I'd low-key maybe try, but I don't own a yo-yo.
させてもらってるんですけど、そちらのリハーサル会場になります。でですね、皆さんと一緒にこう技をやる前にですね、こういった競技用のヨーヨーがあった方がいいかなと思います。一応今僕が持っているのは僕のオリジナルモデルのループ720っていうヨーヨーとか、このシュガーハイっていうヨーヨーですね。こういった競技でも使われているヨーヨーを使うと、今からやる技めちゃくちゃ簡単にできると思うので、ぜひ皆さんやっていきましょう。まず1つ目の技、トルネードという技になります。こちらの技はですね、セナディアちゃんのここの部分で使われている技なんですけど、僕もショーの中でたくさん使っている技になります。皆さん一緒にやっていきましょう。まずですね、2つヨーヨーを使います。両手にヨーヨーを装着してもらったら、ここからグッと振りかぶります。まずちょっとね、ヨーヨーなしでやっていきましょう。片足を軸にぐるんと1回転します。ブーンと手を振り回すときに一緒にヨーヨーも振り回していきましょう。いきます。こんな感じです。ポイントは大きく手を振ることと、ヨーヨーのスピードを上げること、そしてですね、体の軸をしっかり持ってぐるんと1回転することです。ヨーヨーの持ち方は片方の手がこんな感じ、ヨーヨーを後ろに持ってくる感じで、もう一つの方の手もこれに合わせて同じ方向で持ってください。で、軸が違う人は左手がこっち向き、右手がこっち向きになるようにグッと回って1回転していきましょう。ヨーヨーがですね、対角線上にあるようにしていきましょう。ブンブンっていう感じで振っていきます。これがですね、多分セナディアちゃんになるための一歩目だと思います。皆さんブンと回ってかっこよくヨーヨーやっていきましょう。
Maybe even if I had a yo-yo, I feel like I'd swing and hit something. There's a lot of, you need quite a bit of wingspan for that one.
続いて2つ目はテキサスカウボーイという技になります。一回やってみたいと思います。セナディアちゃんのこのムーブでやっていた技になります。結構このテキサスカウボーイがめちゃくちゃ得意で、セナディアちゃんのねムーブの中に僕の動きを入れると本当に良かったなと思ってます。この動きも両手を使っていくんですけど、まずね片手ずつ説明していきたいなと思いますね。ヨーヨーを上にギュッと持ってください。で、ここから上に1回転ぐるっと回します。ヨーヨーが前に来たタイミングで手を少しだけ下に下げます。で、そうするとヨーヨーも一緒に下に来てくれると思うので、下に来たタイミングでこのですね、利き足の方を上にももを引き上げてもらって、そのまんまこの下に来たヨーヨーを飛び越えます。こんな感じです。最初の技もこの技もスピードが大事なので、皆さんスピードをテーマに練習していきましょう。思いっきり回してヨーヨースピードを上げたままジャンプしていってください。ここで利き手ができたら、利き手と反対の手空いてるじゃないですか。この手をぐるっと回して世界一周ですね、アラウンド・ザ・ワールドという技をしてください。で、これをしている最中にさっきやった利き手の動きをやっていきます。なのでもう利き手さえできれば左手はねこうぐるぐる回してるだけなので大丈夫かなと思います。回してからこんな感じでですね、飛んでみてください。
Seeing the yo-yo moves in action in real life, and then seeing, the ones in like the trailer, which is pretty cool. Yo-yo, that interesting like weapon choice as well. That's cool.
最後3つ目はですね、ヨーヨーが変わります。こういうね金属のヨーヨーだったりとかバインドヨーヨーって呼ばれる手に引っ張っても戻ってこないヨーヨーを使うとやりやすいです。で、こちらを使ってやる技がレールコンボという技になります。セナディアちゃんのですね、このムーブでやっていた技になります。まずですね、ヨーヨーを横に振りかぶって投げてもらったら、そのまんまヨーヨーの紐をですね掴んでいきます。で、この掴むのができたらヨーヨーを背中の後ろに1、2と2回回して前に持ってきて ヨーヨーを紐の上に乗せます。フーディーニーウィップっていうヨーヨーに向かって上から紐をかける動きをしていきます。ここから1、2、3、4って回していきます。一回やってみると、ぐるん、トン、上からかける、ぐるぐる、トン。急にね入ってくる複雑な動きなんですけど、やっぱねこれができるとヨーヨーやってるなっていう感じがするのでぜひ皆さん気になる方はですねやってみてください。
Dang. Very cool. Ooh. Noise. Yeah.
というわけでセナリアちゃんになれる3つの技トルネード、テキサスカウボーイ、そしてレールコンボをですね皆さんにお伝えさせていただきました。他にもですねすごいたくさんいろんな技セナリアちゃんやってるんですけど、このね3つが僕もよくやるすごい代表的なヨーヨーのトリックになるので、皆さんねヨーヨーかっこよくやりたいという方はぜひぜひ真似してみてください。
Nice.
というわけで本日の動画は以上になります。皆さんにね崩壊サードそしてセナリアちゃんをプレイしてもらう時に少しでもね楽しんでもらえるようにと思って今回の動画作りました。この動画を見てくれている皆さんの中でセナリアちゃんもプレイしたよっていう方がいたらぜひコメント欄で教えてくれたら嬉しいです。皆さん本日は動画最後まで見てくれてありがとうございました。崩壊サード第2部楽しんでぜひプレイしてください。それではまた次回の動画でお会いしましょう。バイバイ。
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, that last video, I did not see. I saw the first two, but I did not see that. Well, that was cool to see an in-depth look at the the yo-yo tricks. But yeah, very, 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 very nice. That is gonna do it for me for now. We got a little bit into part 2 stuff, just a little bit. We'll see. However, we are now at 173 out of 211. So it is kind of coming down to it on this play. I mean, there's some quicker ones left. I don't know, like that's like what, like 40 some videos, maybe like 30 some, 30 like 8 or something. I don't know. Quite quick maths. I'm not doing it right now. But yeah, very nice. Next one, we got some ones I think I seen a while ago about a part 2. That I've seen like when I first did these reactions. So it'll get nice to revisit. And for now though, that is going to do it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like or dislike, subscribe or don't subscribe. You know, it's always up to you. I will see you guys in the next video you watch of me. Goodbye.